Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. And today we have something that has been long requested and long overdue. We have another death battle review. However, this time we're going to shake things up, and this is going to be both a review as well as a debunking. Because this particular death battle is possibly the worst death battle ever made. And I even regret not putting this on my top 10 worst death battles list that I made way back when. Because looking back at it in hindsight, this is really, really bad. And with the recent announcement of another RWBY death battle, it's possible that another innocent character is going to suffer the same fate as Tifa. And you know what? I'm not going to stand for that. While I may not be a Persona fan myself, I am going to stand up for the Persona fans out there that may or may not know what's coming their way. And we all know how bullshit Death Battle has been getting lately. But let's not put it off any longer. Today is Yang versus Tifa.
Bullshitter alert! Bullshitter alert!
Now, as I said, I promised a debunking, and that's what you're gonna get. However, here's the only thing here. Death Battle really only makes one argument. Ben Singer himself even states in a deleted tweet that this sole reason they stated was why Yang won. Okay, so their main argument is Yang's semblance. The more damage she takes, the more stronger she becomes. And their logic is, well, she took all of the damage that Tifa dished out on her, and it made her stronger, whereas when Tifa uses her limit breaks, they reset, and her power goes back to 0. However, there is a problem with that theory. While it is true that she does become stronger the more damage she takes, her durability does not enhance. So, while her strength will get enhanced, her durability will not, and she will still take the full force of all of her opponent's attacks, meaning that it doesn't fucking matter because Tifa would kill Yang in about one fucking hit. While it is true that Yang does have enough durability to withstand Tifa's normal blows, once she whips out her legendary weapon and starts using her limit breaks, she is absolutely fucked. And that I will prove right now because I have the math to absolutely destroy this nonsense. When Death Battle examined the properties of the Premium Heart during their analysis of Tifa, the first quality mentioned was that the Premium Heart is a times 7.6 multiplier, stronger than the leather gloves, which are Tifa's default weapon. The one she starts the game with in Final Fantasy VII. They are likely the weapon she was using when she threw Cloud, as she is seen wearing the leather gloves in that scene. And the times 7 multiplier fact was likely provided by Death Battle to convey a comparison between her normal strength and how strong she is. While wearing the Premium Heart, how did they arrive at the 7.6 multiplier? Likely by examining the weapons in-game stats. The Leather Glove has an attack power of 13 and the Premium Heart has an attack power of 99, resulting in a difference of 7.6 times rounded down using Death Battle's 153 tons of force figure as a base for Tifa's strength while wearing her leather gloves. The next step in calculating her power is determining how strong she is with the Premium Heart equipped. 153 tons of force, 7.6 multiplier difference in base power between the Leather Glove and the Premium Heart equals out to 1162.8 tons of force. Even with the Premium Heart, Tifa's attacks still fall short of the 1400 tons force goal. However, Premium Heart has a special ability separate from its base attack power. As mentioned several times in the Death Battle, Premium Heart increases Tifa's power as her limit bar fills, i.e., when she receives damage, the exact way in which this boosting effect applies mathematically to Tifa's power is expressed in the following equation. Before dealing with this equation, I am going to make two purely aesthetic changes to it, for the purposes of clarification only. The first is that I am going to flip the two sides of the equation. This is because I find it easier to read from left to right. Hopefully this is the case for most people reading this. The second is to rename the value power as found by itself on one side of the equation to total modifier power. This is to avoid confusion. Power is listed on both sides of the equation, which implies that they are equal. It should be apparent that the power value listed on the right of the equation above the side with all the multiplying and dividing will never equal the power value standing alone on the opposite side of the equals sign. The power found within the brackets is the base power value, and the power value on the other side is the solution to the equation. In other words, it's a representation of how the base power has been modified by the equation, hence total modified power. Now, we must insert the proper values for power. We will simply be using a value of 1. This is so that we can measure how much the Premium Heart's special ability multiplies Tifa's strength. It is important that we insert values that represent Tifa having a full limit bar so that we can find out how strong Tifa's strongest attacks are. This will also assist us later on when we are determining the strength of Tifa's limit breaks, as they also benefit from Premium Heart's boosting effect, and a full limit bar is necessary to perform any and all of Tifa's limit breaks. The value Tifa's limit level is 4. A FF character's limit break is learned by achieving limit level 4, and Tifa is stated in the death battle to have mastered all of her limit breaks. For the value of limit bar units, we will be using the value 255. This is because the limit gauge internally is treated as an integer between 0 empty and 255 full. Now, with all the numbers accounted for, we can solve the total modified power. Thus, we can see that if Tifa's limit bar is full, her power is increased by 4.984375 times, or quadrupled if you round down, which is how most calculations are treated in games, since a precedent for rounding down has been set earlier. In calculating the difference in power between leather gloves and the Premium Heart, we will continue to do so and use a simple ×4 multiplier for representing the Premium Heart's special ability. Taken together with the base power of the weapon, we can now get an accurate representation of Tifa's strength when wearing the Premium Heart and being charged up sufficiently to use her limit breaks. 153 tons of force multiplied by 7.6 multiplied by 4 pH special ability at full limit bar equals 4,651.2 tons of force. Note, this is not representative of the strength of Tifa's limit breaks. This is how much force she can put into her own normal strikes when her limit bar is full prior to her deciding to use her limit breaks. Already we can see that at this point, each one of Tifa's punches are strong enough to deal a killing blow to Yang several times over. In fact, however, I am not stopping here. There are two reasons for this. One, some of you may believe Yang could tank more than one blow through a pillar, and showing that Tifa strikes with enough force to knock Yang through multiple pillars with one blow is not enough to declare Yang dead. I mentioned previously that this is up to debate and a very legitimate opinion, and so I will calculate Tifa's limit breaks to show that what I hope is a sufficiently large enough amount of overkill to safely say that Tifa is capable of overpowering Yang's aura and killing her. The second reason is that I promised you that I will be quantifying the strength of Tifa's strongest attacks. So, without further ado, calculating the strength of Tifa's 7 limit breaks is actually quite simple. The damage each one inflicts is equal to a multiplier specific to that limit break applied to the strength of Tifa's normal attacks as displayed. Before we multiply these numbers by Tifa's established power, there is one more factor of the limit breaks that can and should be considered for those of you unfamiliar with Final Fantasy. When Tifa performs her limit breaks, a row of slots appears on the screen. There is one slot for each of her 7 limit breaks, and each slot has 3 faces. Hit, miss, or yeah. The player then needs to stop each of the slots, preferably on yeah. If you get a miss, the limit break represented by the slot misses. If you get a hit, the LB gauge hits with average damage, and a yeah represents you got a critical hit, which doubles the damage. A more realistic, less game mechanic-y based explanation of how the whole yeah thing works is that they are examples of Tifa executing her limit breaks perfectly. Critical hits in most games are usually left up to luck and random chance, even in Final Fantasy. However, in the specific case of Tifa's limit breaks, a critical hit is directly controlled by the user's skill and ability. Thus, in order to determine the absolute maximum power Tifa is able to produce, I will assume she performed a perfect limit break because it is something she is demonstrably capable of doing. Performing a limit break perfectly applies a further ×2 multiplier, and how I present the strongest hits. Tifa Lockhart is capable of inflicting, factoring in what death battle calculated for her and the options they provided her with for her death battle match. 4,651.2 tons of force. Tifa's normal strength while wearing fully charged pH 1.25 beat rush. Multiply by 2 equals 11,628 tons of force. Now, keep in mind, people, that is just beat rush. That is her weakest limit break. Somersault, 12,790.8 tons of force. Water kick, 13,953.6 tons of force. Meteor strike, 15,116.4 tons of force. Dolphin blow, 16,279.2 tons of force. Meteor strike, 17,442 tons of force. Final heaven, her strongest technique, 24,418.8 tons of force. Let's allow that last number to sink in for a moment. If the mech Yang fought was capable of punching with the force of 1,400 tons, then getting hit by a fully powered Final Heaven is the equivalent of getting punched by 17 of those mechs at the exact same time. And that's just the explosive cherry on top of the limit break chain. Now let's put the whole thing into perspective. If we divide the power of these limit breaks by the 1,400 tons of force below that Yang's aura tanked, 111,628.8 divided by 1,400, Yang's previously set durability threshold has been exceeded by about 79 times over the course of the 7 individual limit breaks. Another way to look at this is through the jetliner analogy used in the death battle. Yang's aura tanking the 1,400 force below from the mech is, according to Death Battle, the equivalent of having 360 jetliners fall on your face. For the purposes of this match, the jetliner analogy was taken as not only fact, but the primary reason why Yang won the fight. Going by the established math, taking Tifa's full limit break is like having 2,990 jetliners fall on your face, and then another 3,289 jetliners, followed by 3,588 jetliners, then 3,088 jetliners. More after that is another 4,186 jetliners, assuming you still have a face. 4,485 more jetliners will then fall on it. Open wide, the last one is a doozy. If getting knocked through a 4-foot wide pillar of concrete is equal to 360 jetliners, then Tifa's Final Heaven drops 6,279 jetliners on her opponent's face. That makes a grand total of 28,704 jetliners. which matches the earlier assessment of 79 times Yang's durability threshold. 28,704 jetliners divided by 360 is a difference of 79 times. For those who are curious, and for the sake of thoroughness and transparency, the math on the jetliners is included down below. Regardless of whether you measure it in tons of force or jetliners dropped on one's face, the calculations prove that Yang could not have survived Tifa's final heaven, her most powerful attack. In all likelihood, Tifa would never even need to use final heaven against Yang. Even if Yang could somehow survive Tifa's attacks leading up to the limit breaks, she wouldn't even survive Beat Rush. This is a spite of epic proportions. This is one of Death Battle's all-time epic failures. And sure, while the Death Battle itself may have good animation and music, none of that matters when they are blatantly lying to you and being disrespectful towards the Final Fantasy universe. Whether you like Final Fantasy or not, we can all agree that whenever Death Battle misrepresents a universe, it is absolute horseshit. And if for some reason all of this does not convince you, in case maybe there are a few RWBY fans watching thinking I'm full of shit, I have one final trump card up my sleeve. Please enjoy the show. vs. Tifa is not the worst death battle just because they got it wrong, but because they got it wrong on purpose. It's the only episode you can watch knowing nothing about either franchise in which the result still doesn't make any sense at all. Let's get the boring math out of the way. Apologies to you all. Tifa holds the advantage in strength, skill, experience, and intelligence. However, Yang has the advantage in defense. Well, no, since they never actually calculated Tifa's defense at all, so that Tifa can't beat Yang. Yang got knocked through a concrete pillar, which means that she can withstand 1,400 tons of force, and Tifa can only dish out 150, except for her premium heart gauntlets, which adds a times 7.6 multiplier, and they get stronger as she takes damage. Times 4, and there's her limit breaks, which adds another times 2.625 multiplier. And if she gets a critical hit, that is another times 2. And that's about 24,000 tons. And this isn't some obscure trivia here, people. This is all stuff they cover in Tifa's rundown in the episode. So it's not like they didn't know about it. It becomes quite obvious at the end that they're making excuses. They claim we couldn't take Tifa's limit breaks into account because the strength she shows in them is not shown outside of them. Over footage of Tifa lifting and throwing a 2,000 plus ton dragon, brushing over how stupid that is, even if she can't use that strength outside of limit breaks. Why can't she use that strength in her limit breaks? No explanation is ever given for this. The fight itself, decent animation aside, feels like an advert. It starts with a callback to a trailer for RWBY. The battle ends when one of Yang's hairs falls out, haha, inside RWBY joke, and after Tifa is killed, the last shot is a banner unfurling, advertising an upcoming tournament in Season 3 of RWBY. It's very RWBY oriented, is what I'm saying. And that's kind of a problem, you see? Rooster Teeth, the company that own RWBY, and Yang merged with Screw Attack and Death Battle, either before or during production of this episode, meaning that the people who owned the RWBY character also owned the show, that decided whether or not the RWBY character won. I'm not a big conspiracy guy, and I don't want to tell you this is 100% why Yang won, but I would ask you to consider it possible. If Death Battle was purchased by Marvel Comics, and then the next fight had Quicksilver illogically beating Flash, that wouldn't guarantee any shady business, but the possibility would cross your mind, right? But at least Rooster Teeth never again used executive meddling to advertise, what's that? The next episode is just a fight between two red versus blue characters? Oh, Well, shit. It's time for the final score. Honestly, I could keep going on and on, but I've already destroyed Death Battle's one and only argument. This is an absolute one-shot. Okay, fuck this. The final score is a 1 out of 10, an epic failure. Fuck this shit. It only escapes being a 0 out of 10 because the fight itself is actually pretty good. However, it's sad that the whole fight is nothing more than an advertisement. The whole entire thing. And some decent animation and music is not going to fix this. This is one of the worst death battles ever created, if not the worst death battle ever made. And you know what, Final Fantasy fans? You can say what you want about Cloud versus Link. They did not do Cloud dirty to the same degree that they did Tifa. And this is just so enraging when you consider that it looks like the next death battle, Whis versus poor Mitsuru, is going to be another advertisement for the 7th season. And I'm sure it's no coincidence that Rooster Teeth needs any publicity they can get, considering they recently fired a innocent man over bullshit rape accusations, proving that they have no integrity and they are desperate. So, yeah, that's that. Yang versus Tifa, a 1 out of 10. Fuck this death battle. And I am calling on anyone who is watching this video. Boycott Death Battle. Do not watch the next Death Battle. Don't even watch it to give them a dislike or a hate comment. Let's try to get this video as little views and dislikes as possible. It's time to send a message to Death Battle. Like I said in my last video, to the Ben 10 fans, let's hit Death Battle where it hurts, and Rooster Teeth where it hurts. Let's hit them right in the wallet. If we don't watch them, then they are not getting views and they can't get money. And if their views drop, then their advertisements are gonna pull out. This is how we will beat Death Battle. I'm begging you guys. Hashtag boycott Death Battle. Let's do it, everybody. Let's finally send a message to Death Battle once and for all. As dangerous of a weapon as I am against Death Battle, I can't do this alone, guys. Please, join me in the good fight against Death Battle. If we all work together, we can make a change against Death Battle. I promise you all. So, please. But I have kept you all here long enough. So with that being said, what did you think of Yang versus Tifa? Do you agree that it's absolute bullshit, or do you think for some reason that I am wrong? Leave your comments down below, and if you like me doing these combos of debunkings and reviews, then let me know, and every Death Battle review from here on out will be a debunking review combo. And let me know any other Death Battles you want me to tackle. I'll see you guys around for the next video.
She's like heroin, sipping through a little glass. I'm looking for some help, I need someone to save her ass. She wants nothing more but to be a little whore. He wants nothing less but to wear a little dress. She's like heroin, sipping through a little glass. I'm looking for some help, I need someone to save her ass. Chinese tricks and rooms with ghosts of hooker girly dudes. heroin, sipping through a little glass. I'm looking for some help, I need someone to save my ass.